I want to first go to my audience because I know we have a couple of people in tonight who were themselves victims of crime. And I want to go to Tom first there. Tom, you've actually experienced theft a number of times.
A number of times, yeah.
But one that might stick in people's minds, because there was a bit of publicity about it, was the time your digger was stolen to carry out another crime.
Yeah, it was stolen off the site and brought into the local village. They pulled the bank down and robbed it. And this happened on a bank holiday weekend, and there was a lot of people still in the village. And the guy went around with his shotgun telling everyone to get in and mind their own business. And they got away. Now, eventually they were caught on other crimes, but that particular crime they didn't. And really and truly, what do you do? Like, it is so mind-boggling and confusing. And like, there was a lot of questioning, there was a lot of investigation, and it sort of, I'm made feel like the criminal. It was my machine. Were you involved? And it puts you in a bad place. And you know you weren't involved, but yet your machine was taken, and what do you do?
Generally, though, when you think about how we deal with crime in this country, do you think we've got it about right? Do you think jail...
Look, it doesn't appear that jail is the answer.
Right.
Because they go into jail and they come out with a degree in criminality, better educated. Maybe geotagging, maybe we know, if we knew where these people were for a longer period of time, like a couple of years, 5 years, so we know where they are, the police know where they are, the guards know where they are. And I actually believe fully in the guards, because they do a great job. They know what's going on. But the revolving door, they go into jail and they're back out in a very, very short length of time. That's not fair on the general public. The general public needs some protection as well. It's really and truly not fair on the public.
OK, I'm going to go to Detta there beside you. Detta, you were burgled.
Yes.
They took your television.
Yes.
They were caught and prosecuted.
One of the perpetrators was caught and he got a short sentence, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to pay compensation to us, but didn't. We had to use our insurance to, the time.
Now, a lot of people would say having your television stolen, maybe not the most serious of crimes. Did it have an impact on you?
It did. Like, to think that there was somebody in your house rooting around. That was the thing at the time. It was very unsettling. When you go out, you'd be afraid coming back in for a while,
I know that at the time, and understandably enough, you had strong feelings about what should happen to the offender. You thought he should be jailed.
Yes.
But you've had a bit of a change of heart since.
Well, as Tom said, I don't think it's the ideal thing to be putting them into jail. I think maybe restorative justice might come into play, in some cases anyway,
OK.
It's hard to know what way to deal with it,
OK. OK, Detta, thank you for that, and thank you, Tom, for that. I want to bring in Ger now here in the front. Ger, just over 10 years ago, you were yourself in a criminal gang.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Okay, just very briefly, what were you involved in? What kind of...?
It was a lot of, I suppose, selling drugs and that. So, yeah.
You were convicted?
I was convicted of a criminal offence, in 2013.
So in 2014, 2 years you spent in prison at that time.
Got 2 years sentence, yeah.
How did you find your time there?
I mean, I was just there to play the game, to be honest with you. You just get in there and you try and get out as quick as possible. You're not really looking to reform such. Now, to be fair, I had a lot of services available to me at the time, which I took, but I was just playing the game. That's all I was doing. I was just trying to get in and out as quick as possible. I wasn't doing that for me in terms of changing my mindset that I want to get out and get a job. As far as I was concerned, I had a criminal conviction now, and I was worse to the society. So when I get back out, I'm going to go back doing what I was doing before I went in. So
you did get back out. You were not a changed man.
No.
So you are obviously now a changed man. Yeah. What happened?
Well, I had a son. I have a number of kids, actually 5. But I had a son, Ross. He was born in 2016, and I swore to change my generation, be his hero, be his father, and really step up for my generation. I didn't look up to my own dad. Similar circumstances myself. He was in prison, and I wanted to show this young lad a different way of life.
Now you actually set up your own business, because I understand you found it impossible to get a job once you had that prison record.
That's right. So I went to a number of places with my CV, and because I was on the internet, I was turned down several times. Went and tried to get me taxi licence. That was difficult as well, more red tape. Eventually I got it in the end, as the guards seen that I did change. Eventually then took up triathlon, became a professional triathlete in 18 months, and then I set up a business as an online coach and a mentor as a coach as well.
And now I understand you go into Oberstown, the Children's Juvenile Detention Centre,
yes,
and you mentor children in that.
I do. And that's the thing, like I've turned the negative into a positive, and now I'm a mentor for young kids. My lived experience is now enabling me to help others. You know, I've come from a deprived area, I've come from difficult circumstances, but it hasn't defined who I am now today. And it enables me to go back in and help the most vulnerable kids in their country. And I'm in a very privileged position to do that.
All of this life experience that you've had, what is it like? What is your thinking now about prison and about its use as a deterrent?
Prison, we need to offer more alternatives, more services within the prison. You know the old saying, strike the iron while it's hot. You know, you really need to. When we have them detained is when we really need to work on them and give them the service that they really need. Because a lot of them really want to change, and I think when we have them contained, that's the time to grab a hold of them. You know what I mean, and give them what they need.
The situation we're now in, with the serious level of overcrowding in the prisons, that is making that even more difficult, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean,
just paint the picture for me now, because you can give me a sense of what it's like to be a prisoner in those circumstances.
At this moment in time?
Yeah.
Well, there's probably 2 or 3 on the floor. They're on a 23-hour lockup because there's not enough officers per prisoner. So they're afraid to let them out in case they're attacked. You've got people with mental health, and that is a big thing, mental health. These people are already suffering. They're going into a place where they're not getting the help they need. And we're adding to their suffering, not me, but the government. And then what's happening is we're traumatising them even more. When they get out, they're hurt people. So when they get out, there's more victims then. You know, and we're trying to help society. And we're sending them out without the help that they need. And, you know, people are getting hurt.
OK, so it's just a
it's
vicious circle.
Door, and that's where they're coming back in. And, you know, it's a tragic circumstance. And not only that, like obviously it'd be a hard place to work as well, you know. I feel it for the officers as well to have to work there. It's a hostile place, I'd imagine. Yeah,
well, actually, I'm going to go to the man sitting beside you now. And Gerard, thank you so much for that and giving us that insight. And it's an inspirational story from start to finish. Pat Kavanagh there beside you. You were a governor of Loughlin House and Tweedfield prisons as well. And you were, of course, before that, a prison officer for 20 years in Mountjoy, was it?
Mountjoy, yeah.
As Gerard was saying there, that's what it's like for prisoners. What's it like for prison officers in this situation?
Well, again, I started 35 years ago. This was a problem 35 years ago. Today, each prison is told they have a specific number, they have a capacity. That capacity is supposed to equate to metal beds, either double beds or single beds. The reality is that if the overcrowding lasts a certain amount of time, a governor will get a call in the morning and his or her capacity may be up by 5 or 10 or 20. And that means they have to go get more metal beds, put them in. And that's just, there's no buildings added onto the prison. We just are putting in extra metal beds. So, first of all, you're working to capacity. There's a number of services. There's the prison workshops, there's the school, there's the psychologists and so on and so forth. They all have capacity. When the prison's full, they're all at that capacity. When you have an extra few people in, and it doesn't matter if it's 10, 20 or 50, that means now everything's at capacity. The people who are in the workshops and in the school are either there for rehabilitation or they're there to keep offside, they're there to keep themselves safe away from the yards where the drugs and intimidation mostly take place. So that's where they're at. Because you have extra people in, those extra people cannot be put into the schools or the workshops. They now have to go out to the yard. You've now extra people out there, maybe first-timers, who are sent out to the line, so to speak. What happens then is, because you've now extra court visits, you've extra hospital visits, which means the governor operates on a very specific number every day. Now he or she is losing staff outside the prison, which means their staff inside the prison is reduced. that means the services now are affected.
Okay, and I don't want to cut across you, but just looking at the statistics for the amount of assaults, prisoner-on-prisoner assaults, and the massive increase in the last number of years, and from 2022 to 2023, something like a 74% increase in prisoner-on-prisoner assault. That must be connected with this severe overcrowding in cells, is it?
It is with the severe overcrowding, but you also have a number of so-called gangs within the prisons, and they're being allowed to move into prisons and basically populate prisons, and they're intimidating the prisoners who want to get on with their lives, and they can have a stronghold almost in the underbelly of the prison, not up front, but in the underbelly. There's people afraid of the gangs within the prison, and they have huge sway what's going on in the prisons.